everyone, and welcome to Devils United. We're back again for another preview. This time, one of the biggest games of the season, which is going to be Derby Day. We've got Andy today. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm alive. I'm back from last week. Now my illness is gone, thankfully. Great to be back on here, and obviously, good job with the big guns. We got Nat for the big derby.
Oh yes, and what a great entrance from Andy to bring Natalie in. Natalie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for today and just to talk about the game and the future games. So yeah, Thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure, Natalie. And Chloe, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Looking forward to Derby week, as we can all say it now. And one of the biggest games of our season that could basically tell us if we're going to get top three.
Definitely. Before we get on to the game, just want to say, hey there, Luca. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, Rather. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there to Niall. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there as well to Just Me. And yes, we certainly did, Rather. So we will go on to the Villa game, as Ravi did touch on that we did light work for against Aston Villa. We'll go to you, Andy. What did you make of that Villa game? 5-0. It was a great game.
It was weird because I was thinking about that, and it was like it reminded me a little bit of the first season where I didn't really feel any jeopardy. At no point I thought we were going to lose. And the word that came to my mind, I think I might have said it to Chloe at the time, was businesslike. It felt businesslike performance, which is pleasing. And if you look back at last season, where the Villas of this world, the Brightons, depending on we would get a 1-0, we'd get a 2-0, we'd get a 2-1, we'd do something silly, a 5-0, and I'm at least it's virtual, so I'm far enough away from Chloe to not hit me when I say this. And even Rachel Williams scored. So I mean, geez Louise, you can't get better than that.
100%. And Nat, I know you was there always at the games. You was at the singing stand. What did you think of the game as well for yourself?
Yeah, I thought it was like what Andy was saying. I thought it was quite simple. It was quite, comfortable. I wouldn't say super comfortable because there's bits at the end and there's bits where they came in. But listen, to get 5-0 in front of 30,000, I mean, I think we sort of stuttered to a 3-1. I know it's 3-1, but we sort of stuttered last year. But I think having like these games the way that we've had them now, it's a City. It's really important for me because I think it's 3 games on 3 big pitches, and we've won 2 out of 3, and obviously now the big one is coming up. So I was really pleased that this wasn't sort of the banana skin that it could have potentially been.
Definitely, Natalie. And going to you, Chloe, what have you thought of the game as well?
I thought we played really well. I think it was like the second half was probably the better half for me. And I think as well, like in the first half, we got the goals, but we were also very attacking as well in terms of having the ball and stuff. And then we were defending quite a bit as well in the first half. But in the second, I think we kind of upped the game. We were shooting in the Stretford end. We knew how much that was at stake. And obviously, everyone says like you score in front of the Stretford end. That's what you want to do as a United fan and as a United player. So I think the players that scored in the Stretford end, mate, they made it for us. And I think we can all say probably one of the best goals on the day was on us. And I think you got the front view of that, really, Maisy, didn't you? So,
I did. I'm glad I was sitting in Stretford End. I must be honest. I got the best goals. I got to see the celebrations, and when I actually seen Honor's goal, I actually thought, was that in? I actually thought initially she looked like she was going to cross it. It didn't look like she was aiming for the goal, but it's the second league goal now, isn't it? Now after that Reading goal that got ruled offside. Not that we're gonna touch on that in the stream, but I'm gonna go to some more controversial bits in terms of Old Trafford. I know nobody was gonna be happy at this, and I'm gonna mention it. The band. Who wants to touch on the band first?
Well, I'm sure now I won't take too much of a thunder on it, but I don't understand it, right? I mean, you know, one of the great things about getting in with you guys, Nat, helping with the culture as well, and you know, in the women's game, one of the first things I got told, apart from the fact that United play in red, well, I already knew that anyway, is United don't use toys, they don't use a drum, they don't use band, they don't use you know, trumpets of any kind, and it was a weird thing to see. And it gave it a weird. I know they did the United Calypso a bit, and it just seemed unnecessary. Like there was 21,000 in the game in March. It actually, until it was announced, it looked like there was less there. I actually found. So were they nervous we're going to get less? Because I'm assuming these things have to be done in, you know, in advance. But again, I mean, we've discussed at length on the parts. I'm sure Nat's picked up on the programs that she does. Like, they're still advertising it as a form of daycare. You know, don't take your kids to the zoo this half term. Come watch United play, and that's not the game that you know that we want. And there's a couple of other points I know you might bring up, but like, you know, we struggled. I found outside the singing section last time we got a little bit of buy-in off, you know, other fans, like other United fans, to do a few of the United chants and stuff like that. There was no buy-in from a lot of our chants, and like the stand-up, if you love the Reds and all that, nobody did anything. That's a little bit worrying to me.
Yeah, I actually, because I was sat on the opposite side to yous, I heard like the odd singing from yous, but apart from that, I couldn't hear anything. The only time I actually heard singing was from Sweet Caroline. That was the only time I heard the singing. And to look at the band in particular, I don't know about you, Chloe, but I don't think Sweet Caroline really should be played at Man United.
For me, I don't think it should be played in the WSL. I think it's an England song, and that's where it stays. And I think it's getting too much overplayed now. I think it should just be stuck to England, and that's that. And if it keeps getting played, people are going to start getting more sick of it. And I think if it's United songs being played, then that's fine, because obviously we're at Old Trafford, it's United playing, that's fine. But I don't think any other song should be played at Old Trafford, especially. And I don't know what Nat thinks, but what do you think about that?
Well, someone's just saying it's insulting. I think the band is insulting to the fans. I think I think we had that atmosphere at the Emirates, and I think everyone saw it. And I think when, you know, away end, this is the kind of thing, us versus them. And I just feel like playing Sweet Caroline and having a band, sort of like what Chloe says, it's making it like England. And I mean, I'm you know, happy that England won, but that's not my team. Not in a horrible way. You know, my team is Manchester United, and I feel like we should be, you know, yes, there are more fans that are now coming and watching because England did so well. Can't get away from that. That is the truth. You know, when England were at Old Trafford, they sold it out. We've got to look at, that's where a lot of the fans are, but bring them in through saying, you know, come see Tooney, come see Leslie, but educate them, told them this is the United songs, this is the United way, this is the way we do it. It's actually really upsetting and heartbreaking, because I think Polly Bancroft was probably behind a lot of that, and she's coming in saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's just like, this is Man United, mate, and you don't get it, and you know, it's not what we want to see. And you know, you should be about, well, hopefully now through the reaction they see this is what we want to do, this is what we're about. But you know, I'm with Andy, it wasn't as good, the atmosphere, even though there's 10,000 more people, it's not as good for me.
Yeah, I didn't go to the first game, so I couldn't comment on what the atmosphere was like. I could only really see it off the TV, but I've always known Manchester United, it's about the atmosphere. We call a theatre of dreams. We've always slagged off our rivals like Manchester City, like, oh, all you can use is the drum, but then you're hearing a trombone behind you and you're thinking, seriously?
Yeah, I mean,
and as soon as I heard Sweet Caroline, I literally said, this song should not be sung.
It's a parody of football when you do that. You know, what got you guys into football as children, you know, as obviously as young girls and women, it's the same thing as it gets young guys in it. And stand behind the product, stand behind the different, but, you know, version of the product. You're almost apologizing you say, oh well, it's not going to be as good as if it was Man United men versus Villa, but you can get in for cheap, and your kid can have your face painted, and there's nothing to apologise for. I love the women's game, and it's a fantastic product, and I think that. I think that we're doing a lot of work trying to get fan culture into the WSL. And I think we've done a lot. I think away ends are because of us. I think song chanting of any kind is because of us. I think we brought a lot of changes in since we came in 2018. But I think the problem is that sometimes, maybe Nat's alluded to there, it feels like you got your foot on the accelerator, but somebody else has got the foot on the brake. So you're kind of still going down the road, but you're sort of kangaroo hopping instead of sort of going forward. And I think they're just scared of maybe, I don't know, maybe of it putting people off or something like that. But the game growing is required to, and it is quite unique what we've done. We've got chants that are really funny, that are really good, that we used at Arsenal and other places, that are sanitized because they've not got the swear words in it. That's quite a difficult thing to do. That doesn't happen overnight. And that's the middle ground, and I think they just need to back their own product a little bit. And maybe that looks at more, the overarching themes about, well, who's going to be around next year? What are their priorities? If the club gets sold, what's their view going to be on the women's game? Hopefully they're not stupid enough to realize that it's a relatively cheap way of getting good publicity as well. And I'm sure Polly will have a chance to do it, but it just seemed. You see, I can put up with Skinner making stupid mistakes. It's Mark Skinner; he does it all the time. I can put up with Skinner ball working some days and not others. But the band is a totally different culture thing that they've totally missed, and that's the worrying thing, because I can't think of anything else at LSV or at home where they've done something totally anti-United. Now you think of some of the other clubs. Obviously, it's like them doing getting a bubble machine for LSV and playing Forever Blowing Bubbles. Or you know what I mean? It's something totally not United that anybody with half a brain should know was not United. So I don't understand why that happened. And hopefully for the main supporters club, I know there's that liaison. This will get fed back. It was a great day, but it's more like if that was just a mess up, fine, great. But if that was we're going to do this, and then next time we're going to do that, we might have a bouncy castle in May. No,
But you know what, though, Andy? It feels like you say, people are saying disrespect. It's not Man United. You would not catch that in the men's game. So why are you doing it for the women's? And I think it's trying to appease to what Roy Keane has always said it, Prawn Sandwich Brigade. That's what they're about. They're about making it good for the corporate client, for the family, this kind of thing. And I feel they're a bit like that in the men's game, never mind just the women's. And it's only since really the Red Army has come in that section, and they're trying to bring back that atmosphere. And I feel like we have that atmosphere in LSV with the Barmy Army. And I feel like it's like they're a threat. Like they don't want the bar. That's how it did feel. I can only say how I felt at the time, but it's just, devils rising there, cheap attack towards the game. It's a shame. It felt like an attack towards us as a fan base. I know that's might sound a bit extreme, but it's sort of as if, well, no, women's football do it like this, so you've got to get into that line, rather than we're doing it differently, respect the way we do it. It's sort of, I don't know, it just didn't feel right, that.
Mm-hmm. And whilst I've got you as well, Nat, I've seen on social media wasn't happy as well in terms of the promotions. And when you hear the starting 11s, you're not hearing the cheers of the other players minus the Lionesses. That's what I've noticed, and I think Man United could have done more to promote the other players.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, last year, anyone who went to Old Trafford, they saw all around the boards, every player's face. And I just feel like that helps promote the players. You know what I'm saying? If you have a picture of every player, I mean, for me as well, it's not just Man United, it's the whole sort of media. I thought Tooney was really well, but for me, on a Batches, her name didn't get talked about a lot. Her name doesn't get talked about a lot.
It was spelled wrong.
Yeah, it was spelled wrong. For me, she was the best player on the pitch. I love Tooney. I do think Tooney, did deserve it. I think it was you could toss a coin between them two. But for me, I just think that was honour there, and I just feel like, I mean, that could be the last time, but she scored, she got assists. Why wasn't it her that's player of the match? But I feel like there is this push. It is the Lioness. Those are the names they want to sell. I mean, after the game, it was buy your Toonie shirt, buy your Russo shirt, buy all the Lioness, and I just think, that's the way they're trying to get in now. They're trying to get these fans over. When for me, I've spoken to other people, and it's like Man United has 11 million fans, and I get it, it's all spread out, but they sell out that Old Trafford 75,000. Why can't we have the same people coming through the door? Why aren't you targeting your fan base that is there, that is loyal, that is Manchester United through and through, and get them over? I know not everyone's going to come. I know not everyone's going to like women's football, but I was a person who didn't like women's football in the first place. Not like I didn't like women's football, but, I was one of them. I was one who just went regularly to Old Trafford and never watched any Lioness, never was interested, and I only got in to women's football when Man United started. So someone like me who used to go home away, Europe, can do it. There'll be a lot of other people. So I just feel like there was not a lot of, visual media, radio, paper. Whereas I feel like last time they had a lot of that, and this time they've got 10,000 more in. But like you said, is that just a bounce? We're seeing. We talked about it, didn't we? 40,000 at City. They sold. The record is 37,000. Arsenal. Why can't we get similar to that? And I mean, 30,000 is good, like you're saying, but if we want to be like the best, you would think that you're looking at 50, 60,000 coming through. It can be done. It's happened before. Happened in the summer. Same people.
Do you think it's about United standing behind the product? Because choosing Villa, for example, it feels like a game that they chose it because they didn't want to lose. Now I know it's a big risk, but they need the next game at Old Trafford. I think needs to be a 10-pole game. It needs to be a Chelsea. It needs to be an Arsenal. It needs to be a City. So we played some of them.
I want Liverpool at Old Trafford.
But Liverpool would be an interesting one because that's a bit more safe because they're not as good in the women's game, but you're going to get the name recognition. I don't know. I think the only one that's possible this season, if they did another one, would be City at home because it's later in the year, isn't it? With an unspecified to be confirmed date currently on the fixtures, but they need to go big or go home next time at Old Trafford. I think now we've done 2 games there.
And what do you think, Chloe, about it all?
I think I agree with what Andy and Nat are saying. I think the promotion needs to be more. It can't be It can't just be about the Lionesses. It needs to have the names of like Honor, Vilda. It needs to have them names, and without them, it's not going to build because the team. It's not just the Lionesses. It's not just about your Lesses, and all them players. It's about the whole team, and we need to not just sell their shirts, we need to sell everyone else's. And we can say Leah Golton and players like that because they play for United. They're English, but they don't play for the Lionesses. And again,
Blundell, another one, isn't it?
Yeah, Blundell, Companion, and even though they're English, they're not playing for the Lionesses, so they're not getting talked about. And for me, a big thing is as well, and I know Andy will probably touch on it as well, but when it comes to Mental Health Awareness Week, Leah Golton is a big one for that. And she's big in terms of all mental health and all stuff like that. And it needs to not just be about one player or two. It needs to be about everyone and how they all see what's going on from their side. And we can see that. We want that. And if we can get what we got in the summer in terms of the 57,000, if we can sell out Old Trafford and get to that bit for a WSL match, then we know we've made it. And like Andy touched on, we need a bigger game for either it be the end of this season or for next season. We need it to be Chelsea, the Arsenals, the Tottenhams, the Cities, the Liverpools. We need it to be them and not just a mediocre team. We need it as one of our big rivals, and that's where it's going to bring in. And I think if we could get it to be City or Liverpool, as they are our biggest rivals in the men's game, and that's what we want in the women's game, then that's going to bring in the crowds. And personally, that's what matters. And like we discussed last week, didn't we, Maisy, where we on the radio, every single advert, or every time the adverts are on, it's always about Derby Day. It was always about
City. Oh, you could even hear Man City Champions League games are on sale now. You even hear that?
Exactly.
You hear all the promotion all the time. I've never wanted anything about Man United on the radio.
Well, I noticed this morning.
About the
I noticed this morning when I picked up my phone, paid for tweets by City about the derby.
I've seen it since August.
I've seen it 4 or 5 times today.
I've seen it on August.
Why don't we pay for promoted? Why do we pay for promoted tweets? Why didn't that happen?
And exactly, and for me, it's like every single time Hits Radio's on, for example, because that's the one I listen to. It's always about City, always is, and whether that's because it's based in Salford, based in Manchester, it doesn't matter. It's a Manchester-based radio station, so it should
technically Manchester United is Manchester.
I'd
say Old Trafford is more Manchester than Salford. It's got the M postcode like Manchester.
Yeah, I agree, and I think why the hell is City being advertised for their Derby Day when it's in 2-3 months' time, and you've got United against Villa at Old Trafford it just the week before, and that's not being advertised? What and again, it's like there's no advertisement boards, there's nothing up until the week before, and it's I know Nat will probably touch on this in a minute, but why is the radio stations, the TV stations, nothing being picked up on it? Is it because of the Glazers? Is it because of them thinking that being at Old Trafford's not going to get the publicity, not going to get the fans in like the Etihad would?
Yeah, for me, 100% that when you say that, Chloe, and when you say like it hits, it's not just hits or whatever, it's because it's called global, so it's hits, heart, smooth, they're all the same, so that if it's on one radio station, it'll be on like 4 or 5. So why aren't they going to global and saying, do this? And for me, I don't know if this is true, if this is just my sort of assessment from what I hear. It's about the budget, it's about the money that they've got to spend. And I do think that, like even we were just saying about the way it was advertised last time to this time, I feel like the budgets aren't the same. They're not putting it in now. And whether it is that is because they know that they were going to sell it, they don't want to sort of put that extra emphasis on it. You know, we even saw when Ten Hag wanted a bit more players, he had to go and demand that more money, and now they're saying there's not as much money in January. You know, it's all this kind of thing that they know that they're going. Yeah, they know it's out. So why, if you know that you're going, they're saying as early as spring, are you going to put extra money in? Exactly. You're just not going to do it. You want to get that money back. You're looking to get that big money in. So you're not going to put it out. You're going to set everything up ready to go, because even Polly was on the radio talking about, oh, we signed off this multi-million pound, but everyone's saying, yeah, they've signed it off, but who's actually going to pay it? You know, they're waiting for the new people to come in. So it's signed off, ready to go. Yeah. They're not going to put their money hand in the pocket to pay it. Yeah. And the money's going to have to come from somewhere. So it's going to be signed off to the extent of that new person's going to pay for it, because it's going to be all in line before they even take over. And you know, I just think it says it all. Like you're saying, we're talking about, why is it not in the MEN? Why is it not on Manchester radio? Why is it not, you know, walking through town seeing billboards? That's not, we know, at the side of Old Trafford, but unless you go in that way, you're not going to see that. Whereas I've seen things on tram stops, people have posted in Piccadilly. That's where you're going to find people. That's where the sign should be up saying Man United. And the thing is, it's a World Cup. Everyone was at home. No one was, you know what I mean? It's not like you're fighting against the men's team.
Yeah.
So you need to let people know it's on. And I just feel like the way that they've done it all, you know, I don't understand the way they're doing it. But like you say, probably I do think it has a lot to do with they knew they were leaving. They're not going to put in that extra little tiny things that they did last year, this year, because you know it's they want it done with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Go on, Chloe.
To touch on a bit more with what Nat was saying, like if they think that they're leaving and they want 5 billion, I think it is.
Yeah, 5 to 8 billion.
5 to 8 billion, then if you want that money or you want a profit before you leave, then get the women's shirts out while the men are at the World Cup. Get promotions out, get the advertisements out, get the merchandise out for the women's game. Get all of that products out to show that you care about the women's game and to show the future owners that, yeah, there's a women's team here. The fans love them. It's going to sell out Old Trafford. You're going to make a profit from them. And this is what you want. Because I think we can all say that we are worried that the new owners are going to what they're going to say about the women's team. Will they be behind it? We don't know. And that for us, that's what's the worrying thing, because it's not being shown to the potential buyers. It's not being advertised to them. And I think that's what needs to be done. And it just needs to be improved a lot in terms of advertising, not just the men's Manchester United team's games, but the women's especially. Even if that means you advertising for the Lee Sports Village, because again, that never gets advertised. Lee Sports Village tickets never get advertised, and I've never seen them unless you're on social media.
Completely agree. Is there anything you want to touch on, Andy, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of dovetails nicely going into, obviously, City. We were talking about the way they promoted it, and I hate giving them credit. I don't like them. I don't like their stadium. I don't like what they do. I don't like the DJ, even though we've now got a ban. But it annoys me to see the City promoted tweets, even though I then read the word United next to it. So I get, I'm glad that they're promoting it, but I do feel like we're being embarrassed because after Sunday, City can turn around and say to us, we've had our women's team in the Etihad twice. How many times have you had for the derby? How many derby games have you had at Old Trafford? What's the deal, guys? And we haven't got an answer to that. But I hope that they will. My concern is as well, it's just so short term. Like, if you're making it Lionesses FC, well, why don't you give Russo a new contract? Why don't you give Mary a new contract? If you can't afford them, is that the situation? Then everyone's got to get even more annoyed when they leave at the end of the season if you keep surrounding every marketing ploy about England Lionesses. And it's just, some of it is just tone deaf. I mean, it's not even related to today, but I saw an advert about like pride and passion, all that feeling. It's a picture of Vilda. Skinner can't stand Vilda. He plays a 2 minutes a game. Like it was almost like the United was trolling ourselves, it's a worrying time because at the end of the day, without knowledge and without information, there's just a vacuum. So you can put in what you want in that vacuum. You can put in, well, United are second at the minute. We're looking really good. Some people are talking to us as title contenders. I think that's going too far, but people could say that as a view. We're certainly looking very strong against City, and we're going to obviously move on to that now. And if we beat City this weekend, we're going to make a hell of a move towards cementing that top three and all the money that's going to bring and how easy that's going to be to sell to your new owner, Champions League and all this kind of stuff and links to everything else. But also, half our squad's out of contract this season.
12, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the squad, not without being too blunt, and I can be a little bit sometimes, there's a couple of, whoever the coach is, good, bad, or indifferent, good coaches shouldn't have favourites. Or if they do, you should never find out who they are. Skinner's favourites are so obvious, they're a bit visible from space. And that's another thing that worries me because he does make some interesting decisions that you do wonder, why he does certain things. But as I say, you could go on for hours for that.
We'll jump into the comments and then we'll get back on to City. Good evening to my dad. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, Reese. Lanzel's in the chat. Hey there, Lanzel. Easy win at Old Trafford. A few mistakes. If Lennon had quality, Villa could have scored, but business performance. Yes, she had a goal ruled offside. Ravi said, Hayley Ladd had a good game. She looks so good. This is the thing with Hayley Ladd is that she's not underrated by us, but in general in the WSL and by other fan bases, I think she's criminally underrated, especially when Kira Walsh was in the WSL. You think Kira Walsh is that star in that midfield, and now she's gone. The new City midfielder who she signed from West Ham is that new face, and you've got the face of some. I'm trying to think who else. You're looking at other faces of midfielders from Arsenal, City, Chelsea, but you're not seeing Hayley Ladd thinking she is the CDM, the rocket in front of the centre backs who can just break up the play and bring the ball forward, and that's what she's best at. If you agree with that as well, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, she is a quiet one. She's again someone, if we're not careful, we could lose without realising, because she's not a headline name, but but again, I mean, it's like Stanny, like I've never really rated her, but I know that's actually on me because I know she does something for the squad that's a bit under the radar, and I'm just so attacking focused, I can sometimes miss it. She's a bit of a utility in the engine room kind of player. I think Ladd is an engine room player as well, though obviously she's a bit more visible because she was pretty much the first physical player we got with a capital P. Hayley's Gonna Get You was one of the first chants we did, for a reason. But again, it all talks about him being a bit wobbly. Where's the spine of the team? I was great that it was great that we extended Tooney's contract, but it was already extended. She already had the longest contract of anybody. So what are we doing? Like with certain teams, you can say, right, okay, Mary's got another 3 or 4 years in it minimum. You could say build but you can say, all right, what's the spine going to be? Mary, Maya, Ella, and Russo for the future would be the ideal situation, and then build from that. But you can't really see a spine at the minute. Maybe Maya's obviously been brought in, but again, with United, I don't trust if it's luck or judgment that we found her in time.
Mm-hmm. Hey there, I Like Coffee. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. I Like Coffee said, if Chloe Kelly and Toon are playing, I'm going for 5-5. All 5 goals from Kelly and Toon. I Like Coffee loves Tooney and Chloe Kelly. Predicted Chloe Kelly to score in the final and got the score right. And got the right score the other day for the England game. Lucky I Like Coffee. Give me your lottery numbers. Reece said he's going to go for 4-2 Man United versus Man City. My dad has asked a question, which I'll go to you with this, Chloe. Do you think Rachel Daly is wasted at Villa and Aisha Lennon is overrated?
Yeah, I do think Rachel. I think Rachel Daly deserves to be in a top team, but I think she's doing so good at Villa. I think she's working with Carla Ward in terms of that she's tactical and she's very diverse in terms of that she can play anywhere on the field. And I just think that if Rachel Daly hadn't signed for Villa this season and she stayed to play for Houston Dash and she was going to be signing for a team in January, then I think she might have gone to a bigger team. But I don't know. I think she's gone to the right team. I think she's helping Villa out a lot and she's getting the game time because I think we said it last week as well, Maisy, didn't we? But it was, I think if she went to the Arsenal, to the Chelsea, to the Cities, to us, I think it would have been difficult to say who do you drop for Rachel Daly to play. And she's getting first team. She's being picked in every game. Yeah, she's not being picked in the Conti Cup because you rotate your squad, you play your second team. But it's, for me, Rachel Daly's the first name on the team sheet for Villa. And that worries me that if she was coming to a team, a top 4 team, as we call it now, then would she get the first team? Would she be benched? Or who would she be in for? Who would be benched in her place? It's one of them that you look at them squads and you go, where does Rachel Daly fit in, because she's a top quality player? And we can say, right, Rachel Daly can fit in and be one of our fullbacks. But who then do you not play? Do you not play on, or do you not play Hannah? And we've got 2 good fullbacks at the minute that Rachel Daly would be up front for us and would be better up front in terms for us. So I can see where she's playing for Villa. I don't think she is wasted at Villa, but she could be in a top team if she wanted to be. But she's playing at her best at Villa. And in terms of Lehmann, it's an hard one because she's young and she's good for Switzerland. But I think especially with what she did when it was one of the games and they got a penalty, and we all know Daly takes the penalties, and I think Nat knows what I'm going on about. She took the ball off Daly's hand and wanted that penalty and missed. And Carla Ward was like to that, like Rachel, like, what are you? Why didn't you take that penalty? And Lehmann literally just took the ball out of Daly's hand. So it just seems like Lehmann wants to be the one to win the game, to be the one to score and be the star of the show. But now Rachel Daly's in it. Rachel Daly's the star of the show. She's the Euro champion. She's a player that the fans always want to meet, that the fans always want to, and it's not Lehmann anymore. And I know Nat goes to a lot of the Villa games, but I think for me, if I was to choose out of Daly and Lehmann to come to United, I would pick Daly, and I think she would fit in our team well. But it's for who? Who would you take out of our squad to fit Daly in?
You know what? That's a good question. I'll go with you with Natalie anyway.
I don't think she would have got first team. Like, she wouldn't have been out and out number 9. I think we can see it's clearly Russo. I think she would have played if she had come to United. I do know United was interested. She's trained with us before. Obviously, she knows a lot of our girls. They're really good friends. But I do think that a lot of it was down to she's coming into Villa to be that number 9, to play that week in, week out. Like you're saying, I agree with Chloe. I think she wouldn't have played week in, week out at United. She would have played. She would have done this. She would have been a great player for us. I think she would have given everything. I think we would have loved her. But it is what it is. She's obviously chosen Villa now. I don't think she's going to go anywhere else, really. I think that's it. It's set. She's chosen Villa. I mean, you never know. Someone might make a big offer and, this kind of thing. But I do think it's set with Villa. In terms of Lehmann, though, I just wanted to say, like, for me, I think she's a good player. I think she's definitely improved. Yeah. But she isn't that top kind of player where you could, in my opinion, I couldn't see her playing for us, really. If she did, it would be off the bench again. So for her, I think, Villa are around there. They're in the top 5, and they'll be looking to add more kind of players. I mean, I'm sure they would have liked Hansen to have played yesterday. Obviously, she couldn't, but, whether, I'm sure that they would, look to want to keep Hansen permanently, that kind of thing, and that's potentially now the kind of players they're looking at. They've signed Daly. They'll probably look to sign Hansen. They're going to be getting those kind of players, maybe that can't get games at big teams or getting loans or whatever, and they're going to be up there now, definitely for me. And maybe it'll be someone like Lehmann missing out. I don't know, because currently, she's playing week in, week out, but I think someone said it before, like, she needs to be doing a bit more, and she's good for like that.
Catherine said that she needs to start going goals.
Yeah, she's good for like that bottom half. Not I'm saying bottom half because that's where they were last year, Villa. We can't deny, but for being up around the top half and maybe probably getting those chances, scoring them, then she may not be that player. And I feel like if Villa want to compete up there in the top 3, top 4, whenever if the league grows, that kind of thing, they want to always be in the top half. They're gonna have to get, not like I said, I don't want to be slagging her off, but Lehmann might then become the bench player, to be bringing in and having that depth, because I think she's good like that. But yeah, like you say, I agree with Chloe. If it was one of the two, it would be Daly all day long for me.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see it now.
100%. Hey there, Paul. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. And hey there as well to Nippon. I hope you are well. Before we move on to City, Catherine also said a very good point is big fish in small pond or small fish in big pond conundrum when it comes to Rachel Daly at Villa. Andy, I know you want to say something.
No, I was just posing before. The only reason I can think of that she's gone to Villa is obviously she's well known to be playing in defence and in attack. And maybe, Carla Ward, I unlike Skinner, I have a lot of time for Carla Ward. I've kind of been twerking at her for a long time. Hopefully at some point she will come to United. I think she does a lot of resource building. She's growing as a person, as a manager. And so if we catch her at the right time, just like Ebony Salmon, when she, if we catch her at the right time, we caught her at the wrong time. I mean, we got her at the right time as a manager. I think she could be a very successful manager for Man United, but that's a separate thing. I think maybe Daly was going around saying, I want to be a striker who's going to let me play up front. And maybe not many people said yes. And Carla said, all right, then. Maybe that might be the reason. Obviously, she still has the opportunity to play defence in England. Because I don't really understand. There's no other logical reason behind it. She's not got any family ties to the Midlands. She's from Leeds originally. Obviously, her partner's up here. Maybe it's probably like these things are a mixture. 60%, I want game time. All the way around 60%, I want to play up front, and maybe say 30% game time, and 10% maybe what Carla said. Well, do you want to establish yourself in WSL? Because another thing I think we need to remember as well is that she didn't set the world alight at West Ham when she was in for COVID. And it was only a short season, and she was obviously out of sync with everybody and that kind of thing. But she did not set the world alight at all. So, if I was Carla Ward, probably said, look, come to us. We'll build our team, our attack round you. You can settle, you can come back home. You're not that far away from Manchester. You're not that far away from the northeast. From Leeds, Yorkshire area. Give us a couple of seasons, see what you're looking at, and just put it on. All right then. And I can imagine she's someone that you can easily buy into, Carla Ward, because I heavily bought into her, even though on paper she's obviously managed Sheffield United and she's managed Villa, but there's just so much about her that I like. And if you can see that from afar, if she's in front of you and she's pitching for you, I'm sure it's probably a very hard thing to turn down. And just briefly on Lehmann, there's some guys I work with, straight guys, and they all love Lehmann, but it's not for a footballing ability. And I think a lot of people talk about her being a bit of an Instagram model first and a footballer second. I don't know. Maybe fair enough. But she's not the finished article. Whether or not that's because that's how high she's going to go, as Natalie alluded to, and I'm thinking of as well. But she's certainly not the finished article. And I was not scared at all. All their attacks were going through pretty much. We're going through Lehmann this weekend, and I didn't particularly feel too worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We'll go on to City now. Anyway, one of the biggest games at the Etihad. Natalie's already touched on. We've done it at big crowds. We've done it at the Emirates. We've done it at Old Trafford. We know we've got experience in playing in big stadiums. I'm looking at the stats here from all competitions. We've played 10 matches against City, 5 wins for City, 3 draws, and 2 wins for us. Chloe, how do you see this game going on? Would you go with go and change compared to both Villa and Arsenal?
I would change it. I would put Lucia on. Whether that's for Nikita or for Leah. It's more going to be for Keats, I think. I would put Lucia on. I think the pace, the crossing, I think that would be more of Lucia, more of the game plan. But we could also say Nikita knows City. She knows how they play, and that's another way around it that she can help us. But in terms of pace, in terms of aggression, in terms of what we want up front, what we want, and how defensive and how attacking City are, then I think that we need to put the pacier players in. We need to put the likes of Lucia in. Keep the back four. I think the back four are good. Obviously, Man U now hope's back soon. But the centre backs, they're probably one of the best partnerships we've had in a long time. And the full backs is obviously they're our only two full backs. We can put 4 on at left back if needed. If we do get an injury to Honor or to Hannah, she can play there. But don't change the back 4. Put Lucia on in wing. I would like to see Borisa play. I would love to see her play. I think City would be one of the best teams to play her against because of how Borisa plays. But can I see Mark starting her? I don't think I can. So I do hope he brings her on in the 60th, 65th minute because for her to play at the Etihad against City, and again, big team, big stadium, as we've always said, I think that's going to boost the confidence up. And we know what her shots are like. We know she can shoot from distance. She's good at crossing. She's good at as an aerial in terms of heading and getting into the box. And that's what we need in a centre back. That's what we need in a centre mid. And it's, for me, that's what we need against City. So as long as she gets on and she gets 20 minutes at least, I'm happy. But I would love her to start. And then up front, Russo, obviously, keep Russo, keep Ella Toon, Leah Golton and Lucia, me. So yeah, I'll be changing Lucia, Hayley Ladd on, and then bring on Borisa in the 60th minute.
Should I get my predicted lineup up?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I always do a predicted lineup, so most of the time I'm wrong, but I actually went with the same team as what we played against both Arsenal and Villa, and the only reason why I did go with the same team is that I think, as much as I would love Lucia Garcia to start, she's got the pace. I think for me, with Nikita Paris, she's just like Arsenal. She's got that ex-player syndrome. She'll want to try and do what she can against the former club. She's won trophies at her former club as well, at Manchester City. So something tells me she's going to want to prove herself, because I'm sure she went to Lyon after Manchester City.
Yeah.
And that was the last time she won a trophy at Lyon.
Yeah, she went from City to Lyon and then played one season at Lyon and then went to Arsenal. And she didn't play in the position that she played for at City, at Lyon or Arsenal. And she's now playing for this in the same position that she played for City for us. So that's where I can see her starting, because of that the ex-player, the redemption, the revenge and stuff like that. But I think we need the pace. I think we need the attacking. So I think, and the partnership as well between Honor and Lucia is on point. And with having other Spanish players playing for City, like Leila, like Dina, like Leah Alexander, they all know each other. They've all played with each other in terms of Spanish team, in terms of Barca. They've played against each other. And that's what we need. We need that connection, and we need players to know what players are like, because we know how, when we played against them last season, we know that we always like Caroline away, don't let her get the ball outside our half because she'll shoot. And now we've not got to worry about that. We don't have to worry about Stanway and her tackles and the yellow cards, because they've not got that. But they've got players in that position. And the same with the right back where Lucy Bronze played. They've not got a better right back anymore. So we can easily get down that side, but we need the pace to get down there. So for me, Lucia is probably the one that I do see getting changed.
The good thing is, compared to that 4-1 loss against Manchester City in the FA Cup, we've actually got a defensive midfielder, both defensive midfielders free in both Hayley Ladd and Jade Moore. And I think for me, Natalie, that's going to probably be one of the main differences as well. And I think the wingers from Man City are not the same. They don't have them fullbacks. They've got Laura Coombs playing further forward, and I don't think it's quite beneficial, and I think it'll work in our favour.
I hope so. I mean, I'm just the way everyone's sort of talking, and I understand like why people are saying keep it the same as women's. But for me, I would definitely, because I think we can push them back. Like you're saying, can't bomb forward as much. I mean, I know Kelly scored, but I think Hemp isn't fit, or I don't know, or she might play, or she might not play, or she's just coming back. But you know that's another, you know, I suppose you can say tick in our box. But definitely, I just think it changed a lot when Lucia came on at the weekend, and I just feel like Keats started the Chelsea game, didn't she? Because you know Lucia's injury. I'm not saying that you know Keats wouldn't have, but you know I think Russo came straight back in, and I feel like bang, you know, yes, we had the win over Arsenal, we had the win again, but for me, I think Lucia should come straight back in and, like you say, push them back. You know, like the fullbacks aren't the same. It's still got good fullbacks, but like you know, like you say, they're not the same. I feel like last time we did play them in the league, I just feel like we sort of stood off them a lot, and I feel like when we do pressure them, that's when we get a lot of our joy. You know, I feel like the 2-1, well, it's ended up being 2-2, but the way we came back into that game after being 1-0 down last year at League was by pressuring them, by sticking it on them, and I feel like if we drive at them, then we're going to create a lot and, you know, cause them problems. But if we sort of sit back and let them come on to us, then that'll be where a lot of our problems, I feel like Lad is going to be really essential. But I just think that the way we do move forward, it's a lot through honour. And I just feel like having Lucia there will just give us that extra bit of spice, bit of, you know, because the way they were playing on the weekend, it was just like bam, 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 quick, one touch. And I feel like if we play like that, like when we did play really well at times, and I think Lucia and Honor was part of that, I can't see, because I've watched a bit of City and they are good, but even when I watched them versus Everton, who are a good side, you know, Everton, they're up there, they caused trouble, but they didn't cause us trouble. And I feel like if we play our way against City to the best of our ability, I'm not going to say I'm not worried, because I think you'll always be worried they're a top tier, top talents, but I just feel like, you know, I don't know, it could be bad for them, but you know, we know that they can cause us danger as well, and we need to be switched on all the time, 100%, because I feel like the Arsenal game, we switched off a bit in the second half and allowed them to come back in. And I feel like that is going to be key when we have those moments, because you can't be like 10 out of 10 all the time, but we need to be able to keep it together, to keep it composed.
And what are you thinking with this lineup as well? And would you agree Garcia start over Paris?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, because I know they're both wingers. You know, could you actually do Garcia for Galton and do Paris Garcia, or is she more of a right wing player as a preference? I think you know, that's definitely a view. I think that Garcia was frustrating because we really wanted her on. We were shouting for her at the weekend, and she has got a really good pacey relationship with Anna Bajé. And you know, and that's the thing that I've always struggled with Skinner Ball. And now it's part of the deal where I used to love watching United attack through the wing and just run the length of the pitch, and they have to stop now halfway and pull it back. And I know that, you know, Skinner's mentioned a few reasons why I think that's a good idea, but you know, I definitely think you could definitely go put Garcia in for Paris in that situation, have Paris on the bench. I mean, one of the things that also jumps out to me is Bunny Shaw is a massive threat for them. You know, not just for her scoring ability. She's stocky. She's like, you know, she doesn't get chucked around. You know, how's our defense going to deal with her? She has a strong belief, whatever's going on as well. Always rated her as well. And I think, you know, the thing is, we play. You take 2 games this season, we played against top teams, and it's kind of how we followed for the last few seasons. When you're playing a City, a Chelsea, or an Arsenal, we either play like we did against Chelsea this season, which was giving them way too much respect, pretty much sitting on our goal line, and oh look, we crumbled and we made a mistake and we lost, or we play with, like, you know, proper like heart of a lion stuff, and we absolutely believe in ourselves, and we can beat the best, and we beat Arsenal at their own manner, at their own house, you know. And I'd like them to be a bit more like the game against Arsenal, and a hell of a lot less like the game against Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. I know my dad has mentioned as well about Zelen with a like poor passing against Villa and giving the ball away a lot. I know that's something all of us have said before.
I mean, the thing about
that'd be a
Zelen,
potential option, but I know that's never going to happen.
well, this is it. This is the thing, right? And again, I know another thing I don't like about the fan base generally is it's very polarized. You either think Skinner is God's gift to management, or you either think he should be burnt at the stake. I don't agree with that either, by the way. But people put each other in buckets, and I'm not that extreme. But you know, any criticism is seen in some parts as almost sacrilegious. I mean, Zelen might not play. She might be on the bench for the Conti Cup on Wednesday. But you know, Villa has abilities that would give City problems. I would say a comfortable manager would rotate any player at any given day could get a chance on the pitch. If I was Vilda Berarisa and Mark comes in and he does his thing on a Monday and goes, right, Vilda, have we got the energy for the week, whatever the hell he does. You know, if you do this, you know, you'll be in contention. I bet you she's a hair's breadth to go bullshit. Like, because it doesn't matter what she does. I have a feeling she's going to be on either in the 88th minute or the 85th minute, and she's a confidence player. And you know, and I think sometimes she's being managed out of the club, and I don't understand why. So, but you're right in the sense of it's hard because every kind of game we set up for, every kind of play we have to set up for, we put Zelen in first. All right, she's our captain. Irrespective of the formation, irrespective of the team, irrespective of how she's playing. And you know, like we saw last season, because she is untouchable, she can do what she wants. And if she's become a better player this season, which is great for United. But if she drops off, is Skinner going to hold her to account? I don't know, but I doubt it. I think it's frustrating because, as I say, whatever manager you are, if you have favourites, you should never know who they are. Whereas I could list you, we all on this panel could list Mark Skinner's favourites with 100% certainty.
And touching on like Zelen's passing, it feels like obviously this moves. I feel like when Zelen is like here, I feel she gets it a bit under pressure, in my opinion. And that's where we see that kind of, I think she gets a little bit frustrated on the ball. She wants to move it quick, and that's where the mistakes do tend to happen. If you agree with that as well, Nat.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's where the Chelsea goal was scored. I know everyone sort of says, you know, it was Millie Turner's mistake. It was Millie's mistake, but she passed it to Zelen. The Chelsea player was on her, passed it back, and then it ended up, you know, all this kind of foolishness playing it about, just get it up the pitch. And I feel like it was more Ladd that sat back a bit further versus Arsenal. No, she was okay versus Arsenal. She was probably one of the best players. So I feel like potentially when they do step up, a big team, obviously we didn't see it versus Chelsea, but you know, Arsenal, they did all step up and they did have to play a bit better. And you know, I sort of agree with Andy, sort of getting to the point where certain people you can't really say anything bad about, and it's not bad, it's just, you know, like we're having discussion, having debates, and you know, yes, I would like to see Vilda play. He comes out consistently saying, you know, she's not strong enough, defensive, and okay, yeah, defensive, she could be better. But then you just said you move Zelen back, she gets that pressure and she gives the ball away. So, you know, I think it's a bit half a dozen of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, for me, I don't think we will see Vilda play, but you know, whatever reason you don't like, whether it's because he didn't sign, I don't know. But you know, how long we see Vilda for in a Man United shirt, I don't know. I think we just have to be happy that we do see her. You know, like you said, I'm happy that she came on and got her minutes, no matter how long they were. I'm just happy that she's played at Old Trafford. She did a great little pass for was it Honor's goals? But I can't remember which goal it was, probably the fifth one. you know. So she was part of that, and you know, we just want to win. And at the minute we're winning with that team, but we're all saying, Lucia, come on and change it. And I do think it will be Lucia for me. I think potentially Wednesday will show as well who it will be, because I don't want to see the players who are going to play, who we know, like, you know, May and Millie. I just don't want them to see them at all on Wednesday. They can just sit in the box, mate.
Yeah.
Put your feet up, you know, because I'm not in our way. Conti Cup is over. I just want to focus on Sunday. I'm not even interested in the Conti Cup now.
Yeah, 100%.
Agreed. Completely agree with that. I think Ravi has got a good question here. What I was going to ask on which areas of the game can United exploit City, and for me, in my opinion, mine would be the midfield. Because when you look at that midfield of Manchester City's compared to the Manchester City's midfield this season, they don't have them players anymore. They got Laura Coombs, who rarely played a minute last season. They've got the new West Ham midfielder, where I think she is quite a liability. I don't think she's been. I think going from a top three club, I'd say a mid-table team to a top three club, and to go on to thinking you're going to be the next Kira Walsh, it's that big responsibility onto her, and she hasn't looked like the deal for me of, wow, this is the next big thing now, this deadline day signing. I don't think she's good enough. Julie Blackstad adds another one for me. I don't think she's too clever wherever she plays. So for me, it'd probably be the midfield of exploit. What about you, Chloe?
Yeah, I think for me, like you said, Maisy, I think the midfield is one area we can exploit, because there's no way, there's no Kira and there's no Stanway, and them three were the main three players that we all feared, that all got the ball, that could all shoot from long range, and it was them three that were the dangers for us. And then also the full back, in terms of it's not Lucy Bronze anymore, and I think we can get past that now. We're not having a difficulty time anymore to get past them defenders. I think the left hand side, I think that is the challenge one, because you've got the likes of Debbie Stokes, Alex Greenwood on that side. But on
does Debbie Stokes play now? Because I think it's Layla, isn't it, who plays on that side?
Yeah, all Layla. And again, Layla is an ex-Champions League winner for Barca. So again, she's one of the tough ones. I think, like I said, I think the left side is the hard side. The right side is where we can exploit them, in my eyes. So it's probably right back and the midfield for me where we can exploit the team.
Mm-hmm. Would you both agree with that, Andy and Nat?
I would say both fullbacks, to be honest. Layla is okay. I don't know if she's the one who's going to start, but even when I watched her versus Real Madrid, and when they had Athena, she just turned her inside out. And I do think that this is why I would play Garcia and Bolton. I would not even let them rest. You know, I just would have that pace on them, and then I'd have, you know, some Tooney and Russo holding it up and then spraying it out, and then I just think you're just gonna run at them. I just feel like we know that what we can do. We're showing it on Old Trafford. I think it's going to be a massive pitch like that, and I just think run at them fullbacks, push them back. I don't think the wingers defend as well as probably us. When we are defend, we can be, you know, that two banks of four. Whereas I feel like, you know, Kelly and Hemp, if it is them two, then they're going to be more forward. Yeah, it is a danger for us to watch out for, but I just feel like Layla and that Christian, the Dutch one, I think the Dutch one is good, but I do think run at both fullbacks. And then the centre-backs, for me, I just think all across, I think we can just get at that defence. I thought it for a long time. I don't know if Steph's going to play, I doubt it. But for me... yeah. That's what I'm saying.
A bit of a blast from the past then, so I just remember.
Yeah, I don't know who's playing back anymore, but I just feel like we can just, you know, I don't know.
I think the whole thing is thinking about trying to think about it. You know, they've also got a mediocre manager in Gareth Taylor. They're not where they want to be, we keep telling the journalists off to stop us putting in the title race, but for some reason they always get told to be the title race. If they believe in the title race, they're in a really bad position. They're already. I don't know if you've got the table hanging around. They're already quite far away from where
I
we
do. I will get the table up for you right now.
If we beat them at the Etihad, apart from the local derby element, and I think the best way of doing that is to shock them. They're going to come out with a game plan, to have that pace. as you can see here, 18 points. 21. All right, it's not as bad as obviously because we played first, but if they are looking to be, looking to obviously be a contender for the title, which they're not, but let's just pretend they are, that they're in a bad position. If we beat them on Sunday, they're going to stay fourth. And I think the best way to do it is to shock them, to hit them hard, to get 1 or 2-0 down. 1 or 2-0 ahead for us, 1 or 2-0 down, for them in the first half, make them worry. Oh crap, we've got this for Etihad. Oh no, we could lose this. Then what's Taylor going to do? He's not God's gift to management at half time. Like, you just start trying to make the sort of the game plan, unwind a little bit. My concern is if we do try and do it, we'll keep it tight. We're at the Etihad. That very much will park ourselves in our own 18-yard box. Our defence is light years better than last season. We could get away with it with City just. We're never going to get away with it with Chelsea. We couldn't get away with City just. We're going to ask for a hell of a lot of pressure, and I want a more forward-facing, pacey game like Nat was talking about. I agree with that.
So you're going for an all-attack from Manchester United, which I think agree. We can't just go ahead and be scared, as we know, as we have done in the past. We need to show, right, we're the new deal. Look at us. We've got all our new signings. We've only conceded 5 goals this season. We've conceded 4 less goals than you. We've scored 3 more goals than you. So we've got a better attack. We've got a better defence, and I'll show you that on the day.
Yeah, we need to tell WSL, basically, we need to make everybody think that City is actually a visualization of Steph Houghton. She was somebody once, she's nobody now, and we need to remind everybody that they're the new 4th people and we're going to be 3rd, and we're making that sea change if we can obviously make it, make what we want to do. I don't think we've got any reason not to be honest.
Yeah, let's get the table down by saying bye-bye, Leicester.
I just love what they're just gone. They're just there, just being a pain in the ass.
They're like a bad rash. But before we do wrap up, I thought we could also look at the current stadium for Manchester City. This is the second and only time I will look at this ever again now. But they have pretty much sold out. I don't think we really opened our top stands, did we?
No. Oh, am I on? Yeah. Alex Ferguson stand did have a tiny bit in the third.
A tiny bit. They didn't on the Sir Bobby Charlton stand though.
No, but the other 2 behind the goals, they didn't have any. But the Alex Ferguson was sold a bit at the top. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a big. It looks like it's going to be. It looks like they put them tickets on back in August compared to us at our Old Trafford game as well, and they've shown for it now.
And the funny thing is, remember, and I know they're just being a bit mischievous because it is shitty, but we're paying less than their home fans. We're paying £8, and most of their home fans are playing 12, as you can see there. So I find that quite funny. So even we'll get a nice little discount to hopefully watch United win.
What do you think about that as well, Chloe? I know you already touched on it a slight bit as well last week.
Yeah, I think to see like the stadium now it is now, yeah, it's not sold out, but the majority is, and all of our away section is sold out. So for us, we can say, right, we've done our bit, we've filled our section. Why aren't you filling yours? And just going back on what Andy said about the league, like the league table, we are 3 points ahead of them. We've got a better goal difference than them. But the thing is we were top last season at Christmas time at this time last season. And then it just changed all because of stupid draws. And that is what costs us the top
Draws
three.
and injuries.
Draws, injuries. That's what cost us on that season in their top three. Because if we didn't have them stupid draws, if we didn't have, I know we can't help the injuries, but again, that comes down to prevention, to game time management, and seeing like the Lionesses play, like Ella, you Mary, your Lesses, they're playing nearly every game, or they're coming off the bench on the Conti Cups. You're seeing them play week in, week out. That's where we ruin. That's where we lose, because they start getting injuries, and with the Lionesses playing frequently more, that's what costs us injuries, and that's what will lose us in the top three if we're not careful. So, like Nat touched on before, like, I don't want to see anyone that's going to be playing for City against City be either starting in the 11, either be on the bench. I know we might have to have a couple of them on the bench, but I'd rather not use them. I'd rather use players that I know will probably come off the bench against City. But I don't want to see him. I want Tinkara and Four as our centre backs, and our left and right backs. That's where we need to improve on. That's where our transfers need to be in January, and if we can improve on that, if we can get extra cover there, then Honor and Hannah can have a rest. But at the minute, they're not getting that rest because we've got no cover there. So that's where my worry is, that them two are going to be tired out in the upcoming season, in the second half of the season, if we don't get any extra fullbacks. And that, for me, that's where City improve, because they've got the money that they can spend. They've got, like, teams and players know that they get Champions League season in, season out. They will get it. And if we're not careful, that's the players that we want will go to City, will go to Chelsea, will go to Arsenal, because it's Champions League football. And that's what we need to say, right, come on, we can get Champions League football. We're in the top three for Christmas. Come to us, we'll maintain this, we'll maintain that, and we'll show you that we are top three, top four contention. And it's going to show what we play like on Wednesday to what we play like on Sunday. And then obviously the Sunday after is another Conti Cup before we finish. So in terms of the City game, I'm glad it's going to be sold out, but we need to improve in terms of not letting it be a draw. We need to go out there, attack, win the game, and not make stupid mistakes in terms that Bunny Shaw can finish off a goal because we're playing stupid at the back and we're not getting it up front. We're not getting it to the wings, to the midfielders. And silly passes, like we were saying about Katie Zellum, like, she was playing silly passes back to Millie, back to Maya Tissier, back to Ladd. And players were on that straight away because it wasn't hard enough, it wasn't quick enough. And that's where we're going to lose out on Sunday against City, because Bunny Shaw is quick and she'll get to that ball like there's no tomorrow. She will get to that and you won't have the ball at your feet. So we need to be quick, we need to be passive, and we need to, instead of playing from the back, get it upfield, get it to the wingers, get it to Lucia, get it to whoever plays on the wings, get it to them, get it to Honor because she goes inside. And for me, that's what we need to do. And that's what will make our away section better. And like I said, we've sold our away section. We've sold that out. That's done with. It's up to City now to beat their records from the last time they played us at the Etihad. To beat that, to try and top what the actual record is of two teams being played in a stadium, the men's stadium. And if we can do that, then we can say, right, bring on City, bring them to Old Trafford, and let's do it. Let's sell out Old Trafford against City.
Definitely agreed. Ravi, City play a 4-3-3 formation. Hey there to Andrew, hope you're well, and hey there to Solo, I hope you're well. We'll finish off with this question to the panel: who's the vice captain at Man United? I think we've got a few really.
Yeah.
We've got Mannion, Honour's played as a captain as well. Is there any? Yeah.
There's Mannion, Honour, Lads
Another, yeah.
But I think there's definitely
Katie obviously the main one, isn't it? So it's the 4 leadership team. It's the 3 vice and then Katie. But I suppose it links to the question I was going to ask you, Chloe. So who's your captain on Wednesday then? Because you might have to have a captain who will play on Sunday.
For me, if we don't have any of them top 4, any of them 4 playing, I would say Jade Moore as captain because she's been a leader.
Jade Moore would be a good shout. I wouldn't. If Millie Turner played, I wouldn't mind Millie Turner being a captain though either.
Or Miller. Yeah. I think them two. I think Jade, Miller, or even Martha Thomas being a captain as well. Because I remember that when she played at West Ham, she was a captain one time and you could hear her. And she was that player that gave instructions. You could hear her on the pitch. So yeah, Martha Thomas, Millie Turner, or Jade Moore for me as captain.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a question for all of you.
Okay.
With us basically not being certain on if we're in or out of the Conti Cup, who do you see starting in terms of keeper?
It's got to be Bagley because otherwise you put Middleton Patel in, who I really like. I think she's going to be brilliant when she gets older. But unfortunately, that's the key word in that sentence. When she gets older, she's just gone into the academy now. I don't rate Bagley. I've been honest about this. I know a lot of people rate her very, very highly. I just what happened in the Conti Cup semi-final last year with her defending the corner, looking like a teenager against grown women when Penel Harder was right in front of her. That image is burned in the back of my brain, and I'm honest, I can't be objective on it. I just don't think she's big enough to be a decent keeper, even for the women's game. But I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't think she's good enough. Like, for example, I'd let her go the next season, at the end of this season. And obviously you got Rambo, who's a lot taller, a lot bigger. All right, she's also, you could argue his skills are a little not as good, but she ain't going to get any smaller. The height's there, so we can make her any good, then she could be our second keeper.
For me, Rambo is a second keeper. I think if anyone goes back and looks at the game, Everton versus Arsenal, you'll see Rambo made about 7 saves. She was basically Everton's player of the match. For me, Rambo will be, I'm not saying like now or tomorrow, but she'll be the future England number 1. I very rate Rambo severe. I think she's going to make the Lioness squad, the next one that comes out, because I think we've heard about issues with Hampton. Ellie Roebuck isn't doing that bread. Sandy McKeever, obviously, is just a bench player. Rambo's now playing week in, week out for Everton. She's made herself, gone from a bench player to the number 1. For me, Rambo's clear. She's always been clear. I think Rambo will leave because she wants to be that number 1. And I think she deserves that time to be a number 1. But for me, she's not in a disrespectful way to Sophie, but I just think she's levels above her. Like I say, her ceiling is very high. I'm going to be upset if she does go. But I think Bagley will play the cup. I think Bagley will play all the cup games because, like you said, she's the number 2. What happens in the summer with her, I don't know. Obviously, we want Mary to sign a contract. But I would definitely give everything for Rambo to sign the contract too. She's another one that's our season, but obviously she's not going to get in over Mary now. But I think give it 2-3 years, Rambo will be bang, ahead of her. And I just think it's poor planning for me not to have tied down Emily Ramsey. But and I get why she's going to go if she does go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree with you. Sophie Bagley will play in the Conti Cup. I think minus that Chelsea game, I think she was great last season in the Conti Cup. She did have some great moments. And for me, I think she's brilliant at penalties. She's very good at penalties.
Yeah, well at Durham, I suppose, against the penalties. It's such a drop off. And again, I appreciate. I have my like things that I like about keepers. I like the fact that Mary's stocky. I know she's not actually that tall, but she looks tall.
But she looks it.
Yeah, she looks tall. It's weird. I don't know what the deal is there. I like the fact that she doesn't get jostled in the box. She can come and claim a ball. She's a stocky, solid keeper. And I don't know, I do wonder. Do you think that, just going off piste a little bit here, but if they don't want to put the money in, do you think they'll take the risk and give her the number 1 shirt next season, Rambo? If they let Mary go because she's out of contract, because we probably struggle to afford Mary, Honor, and Russo. If they did something a bit, I know we wouldn't like that. I love Mary, but do you think they might give her the number 1?
Well, Rambo wears the number 1 now.
No, I mean, I'll
it's everyone.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying, but number 1 is Rambo's shirt. Obviously, she was giving that to show. I wouldn't be upset. Obviously, I want Mary to stay. I think Mary's one of the best in the world at the minute. But for me, Emily can definitely, there's no doubt in my mind. I've known it since 2019 when I used to go and watch her, on loan at Sheffield. She took time for her to get into the Birmingham team and do well. Obviously, it's taken a bit of time with Everton, but she's basically gone ahead of Courtney Brosnan now, for me. And if you just listen to the way Everton fans speak about her, there's no doubt in my mind that I think she's going to make the World Cup squad. I think she'll be that 3rd keeper to make that squad, or at least be, in and around that. For me, I think, Hannah Hampton wasn't that great at the weekend, I know, and obviously there's these other things about what's going on with her. So for me, that spot's open, and I think Emily will take it, to be honest.
Definitely. We'll wrap up here now anyway. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chloe and Natalie, for all coming on. It's been a great show. We'll wrap up. We'll do our score predictions and our socials. Andy, what's your score prediction and your socials?
Oh, how much of a heart attack do I want to give myself on Sunday? Can I survive another 3-2 win like we did at Arsenal? That was the numbers that were coming out in my head. 3-1 United. And I don't want this to happen, but maybe with City scoring first. I don't know why. I'm just being nasty to myself. But yeah, 3-1 United. Obviously, socials at the minute are at AJO_87. Obviously, great to be on, and it's been great to have that as well tonight as well.
Great as well to have you on that first time on the channel. Thanks for coming on. Would you like to shout out your socials and score prediction?
Yeah, so obviously you see there Natalie_17. That's on Twitter. Not United B on Instagram. Score prediction. The City fans will clip it up and rinse me, but I think like Andy, it could be a 3-1. We could lose it, definitely, but I'm confident. I think based on the last 2 performances, I think, we can go there and lay a marker. And I do think like a 3-1, even if it's a win by 1 goal, I take a 1-0 and all that, but
we all do.
Yeah.
Lay the marker down, let them know. 3-1 Man United.
And Chloe, thank you for coming on. Would you like to shout out your socials and score prediction?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Maisy. It was good to be back on with Andy, and great to have you on the channel, Nat. It's always good to have you on. It's, for me, I'm going to echo what Andy and Nat have said. I think 3-1 again. But I would rather us score first.
Oh, yeah.
Get us that way that we're getting amped, we're getting ready, and show the City fans what we can do. So, yeah, 3-1 to United, us to score first. Always a pleasure to be on Devils United, Maisy. Thanks for having me on again. My Twitter's there, Chloe Riley 14.
Thank you all for coming on. My score prediction is going to be 2-1 for Man United. Let's get this win at the Etihad. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on later in the week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.